in the top percent of the resumes that come in, they may not ever look at your resume. Call the HR department and say, are you still interviewing? Are you still accepting applications? Hey everybody, it's Belinda. In this video, I'm gonna talk about how long does it take to hear back from an employer? You know, when we go on interviews, we want to hear back from people quickly. But a lot of times, HR people are interviewing multiple people for the same position. So sometimes you won't hear a job offer the same day. My number one question that I say you should ask at the end of every interview is, when do you plan to make a decision? The reason why you want to know that, it determines when you're going to follow up, when you should hear from them. That's what it answers, when you should follow up, but more importantly, when you should hear from them. Sometimes employers don't follow up with people. That's sad to say. Sometimes, just for whatever reason, they do not follow up with candidates. But if you ask that question in the interview, that opens the door for you to follow up if you haven't heard from them by that date. Now, I want to say this. A lot of times people send in their resumes. They send their resume in and they're waiting. And sometimes it's a long wait. Sometimes they never hear back from the employer. It just falls into a hole. And I can give you some reasons why you may never hear back from an employer. If they only have one position open and they get 200 resumes, once they start going through the resumes and they reach, let's say maybe 10 people or even 20 people they're interested in interviewing, they don't even look at the rest of the resumes. So if you're not in the top percent of the resumes that come in, they may not ever look at your resume. That's one of the reasons why I tell people you want to apply for new jobs, for current jobs, not old jobs, because you don't want to be at the bottom of the list. You want to be at the top of the list. So sometimes that may be the reason why you don't hear back from anybody. Another thing too is people have a bad habit of calling HR department and asking them, what's the status of my application? And I don't know where that came from. Like, I guess years ago, somebody just said, call and find the status. And that's not really what you want. What you want to know, you can call and say, are you still hiring for this position? Is that position still open? Because a lot of times you won't get a status. First off, you may not even get the HR director or manager on the phone, but you could get the receptionist. And the receptionist can say, yes, we're still hiring for that position. Or yes, we're still interviewing. Or no, that position is full. The status of your application, I don't know what that means. You're number 168 and I'm on number 15. So you're not going to necessarily get the status. But you can get, are they still interviewing? Are they still accepting applications and resumes? That is what you can get. That's a better question to ask when you're calling to get the status of your application. The purpose of this video today is to mainly say, how long does it take? And I honestly do not have an answer. When I interview people, I always tell them, I will let you know either way if you got the position. That's me. That's one HR professional who does that. I can't speak for all the HR professionals in the whole wide world. I don't know how many people they interview, how many resumes they get coming in. But if you interview with me, I will let you know if you got the position or not. Now, if you're just sitting in a resume, I don't respond because I get a lot of emails, people's resumes. So I don't respond one by one saying, receive, I got your resume, or I got your resume, you're number 142. So I don't get that. So you won't get a response even from me on that. So how long does it take to hear back from an employer? I don't know. But when you send your resume in, if you're sending it in early to a new or current posting, then you should be at the top and you should hear from someone. If not, call the HR department and say, are you still interviewing? Are you still accepting applications? You can say, I sent mine in 2 weeks ago and want to know if you have started setting up interviews, or do I need to resend it? You can say all those things as opposed to what's the status. If you want the tools needed to get that job, then you need to get the Get Hired Starter Kit. It comes with a customizable resume, a customizable cover letter, and a customizable reference page. All of them are uniform, so it looks uniform when you present that to the employers. Click the link in the description to claim yours right now. After the interview, the question that you should always ask, you'll hear me say it over and over and over again, is when do you plan to make a decision? Because that will help you determine when you should hear from someone. So when they determine to make a decision is the day you should hear from someone. The next day, if you haven't heard, then you can send an email, follow-up email, or you can call. Now you may not get anybody on the call, but you can call and leave a message and just say, I interviewed on this date and I was told a decision was supposed to be made, and I was just following up to see if a decision has been made on any candidate. So those are the two things. things. And again, I can't give you or speak for all the human resource professionals out there. There's a ton of us. Everyone does things a little bit different. Some people you will never hear back from, even after you interview. You know, after the interview, you may not even hear that you got the job or you didn't. You just have to play it by ear. See y'all in the next video.